Hi, I'm Tricia at Club Scrap. This is the Butterflies Remix Page Kit Workshop. Welcome. So glad you're here with this beautiful collection. This is a remix. We've done this Butterflies kit once before. It was a big hit. It sold out very quickly. And we had a few of these prints left, and we took them to the expo with us for a make and take when we were in Michigan and at the Novi show, and everybody wanted the kit that this paper was in it, and it simply didn't exist. So we knew we had to do another release of this stunning collection. So again, this is Butterflies, and I'm really glad you're here. As usual, I'm going to set aside all of the goodies, ribbons, and all that stuff in a different safe spot. And what I typically do is sort the papers into the order that we'll use them. So let's get going with that. I like to pick up all the papers so that they're standing on their edge and I can see them from the top edge quite easily. We have some color differentiations to work on today. So let's begin by taking one sheet of this small butterfly print. And let's just put it face down on our work surface. And then just behind that, I'm going to take one of the large butterfly prints. This we're calling this a collage print. Put one of those face down. And then we're moving on to a sheet of white. You've been given two, but we only need one. And you notice right away that this is kind of as like a matte finish. It's a really, but yet with the shine. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Just take one of those. So make sure it's white on both sides and only one. Then you need dark aqua, so be careful here. You've got three different shades of aqua basically. You're gonna have two sheets that are metallic, not that. Then you have these single sheets. There's a dark and a light, okay? So I'm calling for the dark aqua. That's gonna be this one. And then a deep blue. That's pretty easy to recognize. And this has that lineal texture on it. And then the other deep blue. So two of those. Okay, then you're gonna find both of the aqua metallics. So there's two of these. Those will be next. And usually on the back of the stack, you'll find two sheets of Cutaparts. The first one we're going to take has the big purple butterfly on it. And then the second one has the cute little checked border on the edge here. Let's find the other collage print. So that's this one with the big butterfly face down. The other white. Gets easier and easier as we run out of paper. Then the light aqua, that does not have a metallic sheen, so then you know I have the right sheet. And the small butterfly print, I'm gonna put that one face down. Two of these stunning sand metallics, and then the two purple we end with. If you got lost in there, just go back and figure it out, take it sheet by sheet, and then when you're finished, turn everything over again so that this small butterfly print is right on the top. Now I have my trimmer out here and my accordion pocket file. This is going to be used to sort all of the pieces that we trim into one of four pockets, and each pocket will adorn a pair of pages. So 4 pockets for 8 pages, we're good to go. If you don't have this trimmer, I just can't recommend it enough. Use what you have for now, but then be sure you pick up this model. It's just a great workhorse tool. And if you don't have the accordion pocket file, not a big deal. Just create 4 piles in the meantime, and then pick up the workshop kit so we can help you make one of those as well. For the time being, I set aside my trimmer, and now I have one of my grid rulers out here. This is the 3x14 size. I don't scrap without it. And we're just gonna do some tearing, okay? Instead of trimming, we want that nice torn edge. So I'm going to take this small butterfly print, and if you tear with the grain, so if I hold the paper by the edge, I can see it's pretty stiff in this direction. It's pretty loose in this direction. So if I tear with it, I'm going to have a very, very smooth tear. If I tear against the grain, it might have a little more character. So let's just try that. Let's see what happens. All right, so this ruler is 3 inches wide. And the strip that I want is 3 inches wide from this edge. So if I just take the whole ruler and put it aligned with the edge of the paper and hold it down with my non-dominant hand, in this case my left hand, and I'll just tear. And the ruler, does a pretty good job either way, but now I do have this nice, more intricate, jagged edge. If you tear with the grain, it'll be a really smooth edge, okay? Then I'm just going to take the sheet that I already tore from the larger remnant and turn it around so this straight edge is conveniently located. Again, cover it with the ruler, push down, and tear toward me. Okay, we have a little bit of filing to do. So both of these pieces are going to go in pocket labeled 3 and 4. And when I place them in there, they're going to go at an angle. So I can still see the numbers. Comes off the edge here. Don't try to jam this 12-inch paper into the 12-inch file. And this larger piece goes at an angle into pocket 5 and 6. Okay, a little more tearing here. Bring in this guy. Once again, we're going to do that magic 3-inch trick here. So with the ruler aligned with this edge that does not have a butterfly on it, notice this, the positioning of the other pieces is up here on the right. So push down, tear toward you. The next tear is 3 1/4 inch, but it doesn't really matter that it's exactly. So I'm just going to eyeball the edge of this artwork here. There's a little gap in between these two elements, and I'll just sort of match what's happening there. That's about 3 1/4 inches. Of note, we do have a miniature ruler, and sometimes in a situation like this, I just borrow 1/4 inch from a neighboring ruler. That's why it's nice to have two handy. Even if it's something this tiny, you can still increase your measurement by combining 2 rulers. Either way, I will tear here. And then the next piece I want is 3 3/4, and obviously that's going to take me between these 2 layers. But again, if you marry up the next ruler, and that'll give you the 3 3/4. I might go a little shy of that just because I can see where I ideally want this. And the measurement accuracy doesn't really matter so much. It's just dividing it. Nice. Okay, so now I have all my pieces. Set my rulers aside, and let's get these filed. All right, so this one that does not have any butterflies on it, that's going to go in pockets 7 and 8. Then we have the one with the 2 butterflies, that goes 1 and 2. Then our great big butterfly, also 1 and 2. And then the 3 small ones, that goes in 7 and 8. Now we got something in every single pocket, and let's grab that trimmer one more time. Now the little lip on the front of your folder goes underneath the base of the trimmer, holds everything close by and vertical for you, which is pretty great. We're moving on to page 2 of our instructions, and one of the things I noticed, and I didn't even realize it until today, is that there are no scraps. Like nothing will be unused when you're done with this. Maybe like a remnant of ribbon. All right, so white is next in the stack. That's what we're going to be trimming right now, and a nice easy cut here. We're just going to start at 6 inches, cut it in half, combine the 2 pieces, stack them neatly, and now we're going to trim them horizontally. Now, a couple of reminders, just make sure your paper is flush up here at the top. I'm going to find 8 inches. Always push down on the clear bar, especially for a double thickness of paper. And then slice that, and then slide down to 4. Stabilize again. And that gives you 6 pieces the same size. What a great way to use a 12 by 12. All right, we need 3 of them. 3 of the 4 by 6s going in pocket 1 and 2. And 1 of them, pocket 3 and 4. And the remaining 2 going in pocket 5 and 6. If you get lost, you can slow me down by adjusting your playback speed on YouTube, or just rewind and then follow along. We're on page 2 of our instructions looking at this diagram right here. And all of those paper assignments, or the pocket assignments rather, are on the diagram. Also, I recommend too, if you're just doing this without my assistance, that you ignore what's on the sketch while you trim and then consult the diagram for the filing phase. Now we're moving on to the dark aqua. Again, this is the piece that only has 1 sheet in the kit. We're going to do a lot of this. Let's start out by cutting at 6 1/4. Rotate. We'll cut at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Now, if you're finding those quarters difficult to locate, I just find the whole number 4. I go to the left 1 vertical column to land on that 4 1/4. And, you keep going on columns to add 1/4 inch. So it's pretty nice and easy. All right, I have 2 pieces the same. Those are going to go in 5 and 6. Now we have this little rectangle left. And let's cut this at 3 1/4. All right, so this piece goes in pocket 5 and 6. There's a smaller one going into 3 and 4. The remaining strip we're going to cut into 3 mats and a small piece. So to get the small piece, we're going to get a big number. So trim at 11 1/4, 7 1/2, 3 3/4. It's going to make a nice row on pages 7 and 8 with the 3 matching mats. And then this piece ends up getting used on layout 3 and 4, believe it or not. Okay, now we have the blue lineal. This is that deep blue. We'll start at 11 3/4, thus making a very tiny piece. 10 1/2. And then 6 1/4 again. As I mentioned, we're going to do this a lot. That's 6 1/4 measurement. Rotate and trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Again, making 2 pieces the same. They're both going in 5 and 6. This time, let's trim the rectangle at 3 1/2. That's going to give me a square. Both the square and the rectangle, 5 and 6. The next piece, trim at 6 1/4. And then this other one goes in 5 and 6 with its brother and sister that match. Then you have this other one going into 7 and 8. This is a little shorter. The wider strip, 1 and 2, and the really skinny strip, 5 and 6. All right, let's take our next deep blue and trim at 11 3/4, 10 3/4, 9 1/4, and 6 1/4. Rotate and trim at 8 1/2 and 4 1/4. Now we've done this a lot. Okay, one of these mats goes in pocket 1 and 2. The other 5 and 6. Then you have the rectangle 3 and 4, just as is. Then you have this narrower strip. We're going to make some squares. So let's cut at 10 1/2, 7, 3 1/2, and here we go. I guess they're rectangles, they're not really squares. Sorry about that. This is correct. 3 by 3 1/2 inch squares. 2 of them, pocket 1 and 2, and the other one in 3 and 4. And then you have this little rectangle. We're going to go ahead and trim that at 1 1/2, and you can see how I'm doing that here. Just going a little lower so I can see better. Make sure you stabilize on that little paper, and put these in 7 and 8, both of them. The widest remaining strip, 7 and 8. Then you have this medium-sized one, that's 3 and 4. And then you have another skinny guy going in 5 and 6. That was all of page 2. Now we're on to page 3. So we have 2 more plain sheets and then our cut-aparts left to trim. Let's cut this one at 10 1/2. It's 6 1/4. Rotate, 8 1/2, 4 1/4. Made 2 rectangles the same, pocket 3 and 4. And then this one stays as it is and goes in 1 and 2. Next strip, trim at 6 1/4. Both of these, notice how one's taller than the other. They both go in pocket 3 and 4. And the wide strip, pocket 3 and 4. Next one, aqua metallic. Our first trim now is at 8. Give you a nice whole number there. 8. 4 1/4. Rotate. 8 1/2. And 5. All right, this steppy guy goes in 5 and 6. Then you have 2 rectangles that probably match. I mean, in an ideal world, right? 7 and 8. And then you have this strip. It's currently 3 3/4. Okay, so we're going to cut it into even rectangles. We'll start out at 9, 6, 3. Gather up all of the rectangles. All 4 of them go in pocket 1 and 2. And then the last piece, trim in half at 6. And both of these go in 7 and 8. We've arrived at our cut-aparts, and especially if you're new, just be aware that the cut-aparts are larger than 12 inches. And that little crosshair mark there is like a cutting guide, and I want to remove everything to the right or to the from the outside of that mark. So I usually start out by trimming some off the edge, but not going directly to the line, but almost there. And then when I make my final rotation, I'll shave off the remaining piece. All right, so now you can see there's still a little bit left, and I want that gone, but I can see a little better once I start shrinking this sheet. So now I'm gonna line up the edge of this mark with the edge of my blade, both at top and the bottom corner, like I can see it better over here. And let's give that a snip. Then we rotate again, line it up, top and bottom check. I can see the blade. And rotate again. This time I should be able to just find 12 inches, trim off the rest. And same on this final rotation, just find 12 inches. And then that cuts off the tiniest little hair ever. And I've got just these little strips I can dispose of. When we trim now, watch for this narrow border strip to be on our right. And our first cut here is going to be at 11 1/4. Then 8 and 4. Rotate and give me a 6. Big butterfly and the other guy. Let your dreams be your wings. 5 and 6. Next, trim the strip with the narrow piece on the right here. We'll go at 11 and 5 1/2. 7 and 8 on the framed piece, 3 and 4 on the tag. Before you file, if you want, you can eyeball the removal of the angles, or as I sometimes do, I use my craft knife and cutting mat to make a perfect cut. This is pretty good though with an eyeball. And that goes in pocket 3 and 4. This little scrap, 5 and 6, it's not even a scrap, we used it. Now, again, the word beautiful should be on the right, and we'll trim at 11. 8 1/4, 5 1/2, 2 3/4. All right, this butterfly, pocket 3 and 4. Again, we can do a little corner clip here. I close one eye, just kind of try to match that margin reveal. And he also goes in 3 and 4. The next two pieces, one is a tag shape, so I'll clip those corners and file both of these in pocket 1 and 2. The word beautiful, 3 and 4. And then you have this long strip also going in 3 and 4. Now I did say there were no scraps, but a couple of little white triangles, not a big deal. The final cut apart, this will be the last piece you have to cut. It's the same thing. I'm going to cut shy of that line, rotate and remove everything from the outside edge of that, of the cutting guides, until I get a nice 12 by 12. And we're ready to cut this into pieces. Now, as I didn't mention it right out of the gates, but if you've probably noticed, I let the paper pile up to the right of the blade because we'll ultimately file these pieces in the reverse order that they landed, right? So make sure these little blocks are on the right, and we'll trim at 11 1/2, and then don't move that piece. Just let them pile up, okay? Then